Do not even think about selling on Wahtnot until you watch this video. You cannot price items at $1 until you watch this video. In pricing and selling items at $1, you will pay more in fees on the Wahtnot app than someone who prices and sells things at $5 or more or $20 or more. No one is talking about this, but today I am. I just wrapped up an entire week of Wahtnot sales, 7 days straight on the app, and my office is trashed now because of it. I had to just forego cleaning up everything so I could get this video out to you guys, because I think of everything that I learned, and I am going to detail in separate videos step by step everything that I learned. This one thing that I learned is so monumentally important above everything else that I learned. I guarantee it's going to change the way that you price things and the way that you use the Wahtnot app. Although we want to think that we have the 8% fee plus the 2.9% fee, about 11% in fees, that is far from the truth. Alrighty. If you're new here, my name is Rachel Strickland. I'm a full-time online reseller, selling primarily on eBay, but I also sell on Poshmark. And most recently, I decided to dive into the world that is Wahtnot. I actually applied back in late December, maybe early January, and it took 5 months for Wahtnot to approve my application because I signed up in the emerging category that is known as Wahtnot. That is just other, basically, whatever eclectic thing you want to sell. So once I was approved, the pressure was on. When are you going to schedule your first show? And I'm always into trying to challenge myself and do wild and crazy things. Somehow, while I was cleaning up in my office one day, I got this maybe not so bright idea that I was not only going to schedule one Wahtnot auction, but I was going to commit to an entire week, 7 days straight of Wahtnot auctions, and really clear out some things in my death pile and offer some reseller friends of mine some great inventory at great prices. But more than anything, I wanted to learn how the Wahtnot app worked. And well, if you want to know how to swim, the best thing is to jump into the water, right? So I jumped straight into the water, straight into 7 days of Wahtnot auctions. I learned a lot. What I learned about Wahtnot pricing was the most important thing though. Not so much even necessarily the pricing, but how pricing reflects in your payouts as a seller and what those fees really mean. This is something that I have not seen a single other reseller talking about on YouTube, and it is by far the most important thing that I have learned on Wahtnot. Since we're going to be talking about the fees on the Wahtnot app, I'm going to read to you directly from the Wahtnot website, and I'll link this page below in the description. I'm going to read to you exactly what Wahtnot specifies are their selling fees. What are Wahtnot's selling fees? Seller fees are as follows: 8% commission on the sold price of an item when it sells. Important words there. 8% commission on an item when it sells. And there's a second bullet point here. 2.9% plus 30 cents payment processing fee for the entire transaction. Now, those of us who have been on eBay for any amount of time are familiar with that breakdown of 2.9% PayPal fees plus 30 cents. We used to pay that on across the board on all of our eBay listings, so it's not necessarily anything new, but listen again to the way Wahtnot words this. 2.9% plus 30 cents payment processing fee for the entire transaction. Now, when Wahtnot spoke about their 8% commission, it said that it was on the sold price of an item when it sells, but this 2.9% plus 30 cents payment processing fee is for the entire transaction. They go on to say payment processing applies to the subtotal, tax, and shipping price paid by a buyer for a given order. The payment processing fee is not currently applied to international shipping and taxes. Wahtnot stating that the 30-cent payment processing fee is for the entire transaction would lead me as a seller to believe that if a buyer purchased 10 items from me, that 30 cents would happen one time, that is on the entire transaction. But that is so far from the way things have actually happened during my 7 days on Wahtnot. Now, interestingly enough, at the time of filming this video, their payment processing fees have actually changed. That 2.9% PayPal fee now includes shipping and taxes that your buyer would pay. So if a buyer buys a $10 item from you and pays $8 on shipping, you're not paying 2.9% on the $10. You're paying 2.9% on $18 plus taxes. But this is only something to consider above and beyond what I'm about to expose to you in this video, which is mind-blowing to me, guys. Wahtnot is famous for being that online auction house where items start at $1 and run for 30 seconds with 10 seconds being added to the auction. Although there are lots of variances in how this can actually work. Buyers show up to Wahtnot expecting a deal and expecting auctions to start at $1. But something I learned in my 7 days on Wahtnot is not to start the auction at a price that you aren't truly willing to take for the item. If you start an auction at $1, understand that the item very well may sell for $1. Now let's say you had 2 shows. In one show you had 100 items. All of those items sold for $1 a piece. In a second show you had 20 items. All 20 of those items sold for $5 a piece. Both of those shows are $100 shows, right? That's pretty much where the similarities here are going to end, because the net payout of these 2 sales is completely different. What Wahtnot sellers are forgetting about, and what I don't want you to forget about, is that 30-cent PayPal transaction fee. If you sold 100 items here, guess how many times you're gonna be charged that 30-cent fee? 100 times. That's $30 in the PayPal transaction fees over here. If you sold 20 items, you're gonna be charged that 30-cent fee 20 times. I created these 2 example shows before Wahtnot added the 2.9% PayPal fee now applies to shipping and taxes as well. So these are very loose examples, and the fees are now actually even greater than this. But on this $100 show with 100 items, you would actually net $59. You may look at Wahtnot's fees and think that for every $1 sale you're making about 89 cents, but you cannot forget that 30-cent PayPal transaction fee. It applies to every single item. So your 89 cents now became 59 cents. And over the course of 100 items at $1, you're only making $59. Versus this $100 show where you sold $5 items 20 times, you're actually walking away with $83. Both are $100 shows with a huge difference in fees. Have you ever purchased anything on Wahtnot? I showed up at a show once and I bought 14 items from a seller, and on my PayPal account I saw 14 transactions. Wahtnot isn't getting rich here. They're not receiving the 30-cent fee. Why they're allowing PayPal to do this blows my mind. That 30-cent transaction fee for every single item is only coming straight out of sellers' pockets. I don't want to call this a hidden fee, but I think it's a little unclear on the Wahtnot website, because Wahtnot is very straightforward in telling you that there's an 8% commission per item, but when it comes to the PayPal fees, they say per transaction. And if one of you purchased 7 items from me, I would consider those 7 items one transaction. Wahtnot does not, and neither does PayPal. Every single item is treated as its own transaction. There's a frequently asked question on the Wahtnot website that says, how can I get a breakdown of the fees deducted from my live sales? And Wahtnot's answer to that is, while this is not currently visible in the app or on the seller dashboard or on the web, our team is currently working hard to provide additional clarity. We will notify the seller community as soon as such changes become available. So unless you are pretty good at math, you may not have realized that this fee is coming out of every single item. This 30-cent processing fee was never really a huge big deal over on eBay, but eBay isn't the volume game that Wahtnot is. In the 7 auctions that I hosted on Wahtnot, I sold 158 items. That 30-cent PayPal transaction fee per item amounted to $47.40 in what I'm just gonna call lost revenue. I feel like a lot of sellers would see the 2.9% fee and the 30-cent fee and assume that that 2.9% is going to be greater, but we couldn't be further from the truth, especially on a $1 sale. On a $1 sale, that 2.9% PayPal fee amounts to 2.9 cents. That 30-cent transaction fee is a 30% deduction in your payout. Wahtnot themselves, the actual platform that should be making the most, that we should be paying the most in fees to, is only making 8 cents on a $1 transaction. So why PayPal is allowed to get rich and take 30% off of a $1 transaction is mind-blowing to me. I don't know what I'm more shocked about, the fact that this is happening or the fact that it's taken us so long to realize it. One of the things I really liked about Wahtnot though was the ability to pass along a deal to other resellers. So here's what I'm going to encourage you to do. If you want to start items at $1, start them at $1. but bulk those items together. Take 5 t-shirts and start them at $5. When a buyer purchases those 5 t-shirts, you'll pay that 30-cent transaction fee one time. Or better yet, if you still want to sell items at $1 after hearing all this, bulk 10 items together. The biggest problem with this is going to be that Wahtnot's $1 shipping no longer exists. It's kind of crazy when I consider the time that I jumped into Wahtnot, because I literally jumped in the week before some really serious and major changes took place. That $1 shipping going away is going to change a lot about this platform. I had a few resellers kind of joking like, Rachel, you're the reason we lost the $1 shipping. And I will tell you, I mailed out a 39-pound box that buyer probably paid less than $12 in shipping. But I will also tell you that I purchased 14 photos from a seller and I was charged $17 to have an envelope mailed to my house. So I think it was all coming out in the wash for Wahtnot, especially with high volume, lightweight sales. Buyers will absolutely keep showing up at Wahtnot expecting those $1 auction starts, but that doesn't mean you have to start there. I've attended Wahtnot auctions that started at $400. I started an item myself at $200. It may sell, it may not. There may be a better platform for you, but don't feel the pressure to start every single item at $1 because number one, the item may sell for that. You will only get a bidding war on Wahtnot if 2 people or more show up to your one auction and are interested in that one item. I was in an auction the other day and the items that I wanted, 2 other people were bidding against me on. Had any of us not been there, all of those items would have sold for less. You have to create interest in your auction. The one thing you don't want to do is to be rude to your buyers, because I've also been in Wahtnot auctions where I bid $1 on an item, no one else is there that's interested in it, I win the item, and instead of thank you so much Rachel for purchasing this item, the seller would say something like, wow, you guys slept on this, I can't believe it went for that, that's horrible, that's terrible, and I paid exactly what they asked for the item. I can't raise my own bid, so definitely don't start an item at a price that you're going to be less than gracious if someone buys it for. It's honestly the equivalent of putting $5 on jeans at your yard sale and being really disappointed when people come up and pay you $5 for the jeans. I've heard about numerous sellers on Wahtnot going to the bins and getting t-shirts for, you know, 25 to 50 cents a shirt, starting those at $1. But guys, if they sell for $1, then after fees, you're making 59 cents. If you bought it for a quarter, you're making 34 cents, and you still have to get a label printed, put it in a bag. I don't know that you're making anything at all by starting t-shirts for $1. We have this lie to ourselves that we're at least doubling our money, but I don't think you truly are. You're walking away with 34 cents before paying for shipping supplies, and that was before the 2.9% PayPal transaction fee applied to shipping and taxes on orders. So now you're walking away with less than that. For a $1 sale, you're probably getting about a quarter before deducting your cost of goods. So this model of bringing $101 items to Wahtnot is so flawed, and you will never see me doing this. Just in case you're still thinking that this is a good idea, I have to tell you that on average 50 items took me about 2 hours to run, and that stayed consistent throughout the 7 days. Many days I brought about 25 items, and that was about a 1-hour show. So 100 items is going to be a 4-hour show. That $59 net divided by 4 hours is $14.75, and it doesn't include, let's just say, 30 minutes in setup if you're just a genius at Wahtnot setup, and probably an hour to 2 hours of packaging afterwards. Oh, let's not forget the time it took to actually source these items. We'll go ahead and add on an extra hour for that. All in all, you could have about 7.5 hours into this one $59 show, netting you a whopping $7.86 an hour. Sourcing and shipping 20 items is gonna be a lot less work, and let's just say a show like this would take you about 3 hours. Your $89 net divided by 3 hours is almost $30 an hour. So yes, there is absolutely money to be made on the Wahtnot app, but it is not in selling $1 items. So if you can't make money selling items for $1 on Wahtnot, and I'm telling you you can't, then why would you ever start your auctions at $1? I understand the allure, I understand bringing people in with everything starting at $1, but unless you have a huge social media following and people are buying those items just to be buying an item from you, it's really not worth it. Starting auctions at $1 on Wahtnot will lead to heartbreak for you, and you're basically paying to spend your time on the app. And I've seen more times than not that it leads to a really rude experience for buyers. Because when a buyer buys your item for that $1 that you asked for it, sellers are never truly happy with that. And if they have been happy with that, it's because they neglected this 30-cent fee. Once I discovered this, I actually sat down and looked at all 7 of my shows, and I found a really interesting truth. That truth is that the higher my average sales price was, the more money I got to keep in my pocket, the lower my fees were. So it would seem to me like Wahtnot is set up for sellers to sell their items at a higher price and not at $1. Let me explain it a little more in depth. On day 1, my very first auction, I sold 48 items for $268. I got to keep $217.29. My average sales price was $5.58, which meant I kept 81% of the profits. On day 2, I sold 29 items for $86, netting $64.70. That meant my average sales price was $2.96, and I kept just 75% of the profits. On day 3, I sold 31 items for $175, netted $146.66. With an average sales price of $5.65, I netted 83%. Day 4, I sold 19 items for $84. I netted $66.77 with an average sales price of $4.42. That meant I kept 79% of the gross. Now this one is my worst day yet. I sold something I absolutely was not passionate about. It definitely showed. I hated trying to sell it. I'm gonna get into that more in a future video. But guys, on day 5, I only sold 3 items for $5. I netted $3.55. So my average sales price was $1.66, which means that I netted 71%. There were 29% fees on that day 5. I don't want to bore you with all the numbers, but I know some people are really interested in seeing the 7 days breakdown. So I'll go ahead and give you the last 2 days here. Day 6, I sold 21 items for $117, netting $97.63. Because my average sales price was $5.57, I got to keep 83%. On day 7, which was my best day percentage-wise, okay, this is an important day. On day 7, 7 items. That's it. 7 items sold for $80. I kept $69.10 because my average sales price on day 7 was $11.42, which meant that I kept 86% of that sales price. The overall fees and net profits on Wahtnot can vary greatly and are extremely dependent on how many items you sold and what the average sales price was. I really tried to make this video as easy to understand as possible, but just in case it's still not really sinking in, I'll put it this way. Let's pretend for a moment that I own a shop on Main Street and you sell shoes. You ask if you can sell your shoes in my shop, and my answer is yes. I want 30 cents for every single pair of shoes that you sell. If you sell shoes for $1, I'm getting 30 cents of every single dollar. That's 30%, guys. You can see how it's definitely more advantageous for you to sell those shoes for $10 because then I'm only taking 3% of your sale. If we've all decided Wahtnot is a volume game, then we cannot neglect the volume of this 30-cent PayPal transaction fee. When I sat down to make this video, I wanted to ensure I was not wrong about this. So I sat down to look at my last 2 payouts from the Wahtnot app. A buyer bought what I labeled as item 21 and item 19 in a particular sale. Items 21 and 19 both sold for $10 a piece. The 8% Wahtnot fee on that $10 sale should be 80 cents. The 2.9% PayPal fee on that $10 sale should be 29 cents, which would leave me to net $8.91 were it not for that 30-cent transaction fee. I wanted to see, was this transaction fee charged to me twice from the same buyer in the same sale? And it absolutely was. In the case of item 21 and the case of item 19, I received $8.61. You are being charged this 30-cent fee on every single item that you're selling. If you guys think this is knowledge, then just wait till you see the rest of the stuff I learned from doing 7 days straight on Wahtnot. Some of it is also going to blow your mind. I invite you to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications if you don't want to miss a single one of those Wahtnot videos. If you're not yet on the Wahtnot app, I'm actually going to have 2 links below in the description. One of those is a link to start buying on the app, to download the app, to set up your account. And because you click my link, you'll get $10 to spend on Wahtnot, and I'll also get $10 after you buy your first item. The second link I'm posting is incredibly important. I have described it below as the seller referral link. Here's the thing, while it took me 5 months to get approved on Wahtnot, since I've been on Wahtnot, I've used my seller referral link to refer 2 friends who were approved the exact same day because they had a seller referral link. I'm posting that link below, you guys. So definitely subscribe, like this video, and share it with a Wahtnot seller that you think could benefit from this information. You guys are stellar for sticking with me. Thanks so much. God bless you. And remember, treat your business like your business.
Alrighty.